Only when there is darkness in the world can we begin to trace a source of light. Why is there evil in the world? And why is darkness allowed to linger in our world? These questions lead to the big question I often get asked. Does God care? Darkness has a way of getting one's attention. There are times when a struggle for clarity only makes the suffering worse, for the clarity does not come, and that knowledge makes the experience even more disquieting. Faith scholars and practitioners know these times where the soul experiences darkness are the times when God invites us to sit in quietude, to acknowledge the discomfort, and to pray, not for an answer, but for growing awareness that God is present. In the book of Exodus, there is an account of a time when God's people felt lost and abandoned, and their spirits were stirred and they were afraid. If the darkness of confusion was not enough, a storm began to stir, their senses filled with the stuff of nightmares. Tempestuous winds, thunder, lightning, smoke billowed from the mountain before them, and if that weren't enough, audible trumpet blasts coming from the mountain were discernible above the thunder. Yes, trumpet blasts coming from what was described as a thick darkness. To where were they to run? Of what were they to make of this growing darkness? And while people's spirits quaked, Moses wandered up the mountain, and I read from Exodus chapter 20. The people remained at a distance while Moses approached the thick darkness where God was. Thick darkness? God? In darkness? Sometimes answers are found when we finally accept that we just don't know what we don't know. When we accept limits to what we can change or grasp or direct. Poet Rothke writes in a poem titled In Dark Time, "A man goes far to find out what he is. Death of the self in a long, tearless night." End quote. Spiritual guides tell us these shadow moments of recognition lead us to see what was not yet comprehended, what was not yet seen, that we and others are not omnipotent, all-powerful, all-seeing. This is a crisis of a spiritual nature, but it can lead us to a helpful resignation. It can lead us to stop, drop the struggle, and seek a power greater than ourselves, becoming like a night-wandering pilgrim in search of the dawn. Theodore Roethke, American poet, says, "In a dark time, the eye begins to see." Gregory of Nyssa, ancient theologian, uses the story of Moses to describe a deepened walk with God. When one realizes that God transcends comprehension and cannot be seen by the intellect, that is when one begins to see. He spoke of a seeing that consists in not seeing. God, once hidden in darkness, is comprehended in Christ, who is the light, a beaming light of love divine for the beloved. From the book of John, chapter 1. In Jesus was life, and that life was the light of all humankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. End quote. Mirabai Starr guides us in the wisdom of Spanish mystic John of the Cross from 1542 to 1591. When the dark night descends on the soul, its radiance blinds the intellect. She can no longer formulate concepts. She doesn't even want to. Do not force it, John of the Cross wrote. Stop trying to figure it out. Drop down into a state of guileless quietude and abide there. This is no time for discursive meditation, no time for pondering theological doctrines or asserting articles of faith. End quote. And I respond, we need not fear the darkness, nor the delay of dawn. Safe, secure, beloved we are. The evidence which is above our heads and beneath our feet and within our soul, and as Alden J. just received, within our very spirit. A lovely and beguiling quote by Ihab Hassan, Egyptian-born American theorist and writer. Unknowingly, we plow the dust of stars, blown about us by the wind, and drink the universe in a glass of rain. End quote. And I finish with a quote from C.S. Lewis. I believe in God as I believe that the sun has risen, not only because I see it, but because by it I see everything else. May the thoughts of your hearts and the meditations of your soul this night lead you to a place of solace.